Where does it come from? Yeah, so it actually started for me a long time ago. I mean, it was since we've talked a little bit of CrossFit OGs back in my Boston days. I was good friends with the Bergeron, still am, but spent a lot of time with them. And I just had this just casual dinner one night with Heather Bergeron, and we were just talking about nutrition as we did as CrossFitters. And she made this offhand comment, not really meaning anything of it, but she's like, you just can't eat enough vegetables, right? And it actually just stuck with me for a really long period of time because I was just sort of thinking, that's really interesting. How are we going to measure quality in the diet? CrossFit was so measurement focused and we measure our workouts and this is how we're measuring macros. And she made this comment. I was like, well, that's really interesting. How are we going to measure quality? How do we measure if somebody's eating clean? And gosh, that was, I don't even know how many years ago, but that was always sort of ruminating in my mind. And then I happened to come across a study that was looking at fruit and vegetable consumption relative to health outcomes. I mean, this is fast forward now to 2017. I'm doing a master's in nutrition. And basically, they found that when people ate 800 grams of fruits and vegetables each day, their risk of like cardiovascular disease and cancer and dying went down. And I was like, that's really interesting. Like, what about if I try to eat 800 grams of fruits and vegetables each day with no other rules and restrictions and just sort of see what happens? And so that's ultimately when the 800-gram challenge was born. And that's what it is. It's adding this healthy daily dose of fruits and veggies to the diet. But it's a really simple way for people to measure quality in their diet. It turns out that it's not a perfect system. There's other things to look in the diet. It's not even a perfect measurement of quality. But I find that it's just a really slippery slope that when people think that they're eating clean, but they don't have any measurement standard. It's what you guys know so well for CrossFit. It's like, how do you know you're getting better? Well, we're going to take some measurement. And so the same thing is going to be true when we're looking at quality in the diet. And that's really the main intent with it.
And so for the people that are listening that might not know about this or have seen it,
Yeah.
what does that look like on a meal to meal daily basis?
Yeah, 800 grams by weight does fit on a standard dinner plate. I always like to remind people you're not going to want to eat it all at dinner. You're going to want to spread that out across the day. And it ends up being about 6 cups. So I like to tell people target 2 cups of fruits and vegetables at each main meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then just fill in the rest. Because the idea here is we're not looking at all aspects of the diet. We're not focusing on protein yet. We're not looking at all the snack foods. You're not restricting foods. You're just focusing on adding this dose of fruits and veggies to the diet. And so if you do it at 2 cups at each main meal, you're going to get to 800 across the day.
Okay. Okay.
And not restricting anything, what do you see from that? Do you see filling yourself up with nutrients?
Mm.
You don't necessarily want the extra stuff?
Yeah, that's sort of what I say is like the magic of the 800-gram challenge. And what I try to do a little bit on social media is do these comparison plates of how much food you can get for the same number of calories of a more processed, let's say brownies or chips or something like that. And so what people find is that this volume of fruits and veggies often displaces some of the more calorically dense stuff. But what you mentioned was really important, like the no restriction aspect. I think what you've probably done over the years, what I've done over the years is this really absolute black and white, cut out some items. But ultimately, a sustainable diet includes the foods you love. So if you love brownies, we're going to figure out a way to include brownies. You know, if you love chips or alcohol or whatever it is, we're going to figure out a way to include that, and we can and still have a healthy diet. And so the idea is, hey, we do have to load up on a good amount of nutrients. And so we're going to get a good amount of fruits and veggies in the diet. That's going to help us cut down or control, I should say, those processed goodies probably to a better degree than we were doing before.